What's up, Sam Salinas? What's up, Hooper Flash? Got a lot to talk about today, man. Super Bowl's set up. Got Eagles and Chiefs. Chiefs looking to three-peat. Talk about Wemby and Kevin Garnett's comments. Does Wemby need more dog in him? Oh, hell no. You'll never catch me rooting for no freaking Eagles. Pinche lechuzas cagadas. I'll never root for the Eagles. I despise the Eagles and Eagles fans, period. I'm a Chiefs fan in the Super Bowl, man. My homie's my homie. Let's go for the three-peat. Why not showing the chulo haircut? Well, because I got to represent MCS General Contracting. Hey, what's up, JHNSB? Tony Ornales, thanks for joining. Now look at that. Leja says, I've been telling y'all, Chiefs three-peating. Yeah, man, the NFL wants them to three-peat. It's good for business. Of course they're going to want to go ahead and have Kelsey there and Taylor Swift and all that. Yeah, man. Tony Ornales, bring that up again, man. Look at Tony Ornales is keeping receipts. He says, I remember when Mike said Eagles kind of suck.
Yeah, then Saquon turned into a cheat code.
Oh, man. Oh, I called you out yesterday. It was funny. We were doing lows.
Yeah.
And we're grading, handing out grades, right? Me and Jeff. And we came to CP3, and I was like, I don't know. My counterpart said that was a sign the Spurs were punting.
And it was. Turned out to be.
Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your host as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast, formerly known as the Alamo City podcast. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. It is Monday. It is a dreary, wet Monday here in San Antonio, but it's an exciting time because we finally know who's going to be playing in Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans in 2 weeks. It's a rematch of Super Bowl 57, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. We have a lot to get into, Joe.
Yeah, go Chiefs. I will never root for the Eagles in my life.
Okay, so, Joe, I understand.
Never.
For Cowboy fans, it was difficult because you had an NFC East championship game of the Commanders and the Eagles. The Eagles beat the living crap out of the Commanders. The Commanders just turned the ball over repeatedly.
And they showed their bellies, man. They showed their bellies.
And then you have the rematch between the Bills and the Chiefs, and it's starting to be ridiculous, man. And I'm because I'm an official myself. I do basketball officiating. I'm one of the last to ever jump on board with the whole the refs are in on it. The refs are screwing over the opponents.
Conspiracy
the refs
theories
are for the Chiefs. Yesterday's game, no, man. That is ridiculous, okay? I just tweeted out there, if Dez didn't catch it, which he didn't, no way Xavier Worthy did. There were so many questionable calls yesterday and a questionable no call, all in favor of who? The Chiefs. We all see it now, okay? And on top of that, we're still relying on 70-year-old men to decide who's first down, if it's a first down or not, by a marker. How is it that I can watch tennis and see Djokovic or Alcaraz serve at 130 miles an hour, and they question whether it's in or out, and within 3 seconds, we know because there's GPS system tracking on each and every single tennis ball. They have dozens of tennis balls out there, Joe, and there's GPS tracking on every single one of them, and we know whether or not it's in or out within a matter of a couple of seconds. But in football, we have two officials who are 75 years old on either side of the play coming in and running in and trying to make a judgment call, and then it's so stupid because it's a judgment call.
Oh.
How do we not have effing GPS on a football? How do we not know whether Josh Allen made it a first down or not? And by the way, he did. Because you didn't have to cross the line. You needed to touch the line. And he did, man. And when you see two officials going up and one cheat halfway, half a yard this way, the other one cheat the other halfway, and it's like, dude, either you had the angle or you didn't. You stood on that line for a reason. It's because you saw it that way. And it was ridiculous. And the Chiefs go on. And you know what the sad thing is, Joe?
Yeah. What's up?
Do you know how Kansas City got Patrick Mahomes?
From the Bills.
From the Bills. The Bills traded Patrick Mahomes' draft pick
Yeah.
to Kansas City, right? So it's one of those things. And now you look at Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson with no, Super Bowl rings. They're now 8 years in. They're joining Dak, man. They're joining Dak in that whole they're not ever going over the hump category there. So we're going to hear today from a lot of different people. We're going to hear from Michael Irvin later on because Michael Irvin's going off on Jerry Jones right now. Michael Irvin went on YouTube, his own YouTube channel, for 19 minutes yesterday just going off on him. So we're going to hear about him. We're going to hear from, and by the way, it's going to be not safe for work in the sense that
Oh, God.
there's some cursing going on with Michael Irvin. There's some cursing going on with Kevin Garnett because on his podcast, him going off on Wemby.
Good.
Him going off on Wemby and dropping
Good.
F-bombs on it all. Lots to get into. You can be part of the show by entering our YouTube
Look at
chat,
that.
which is powered by MCS General
Jesse A.
Contracting.
Eagles win. Wemby balled out in France. Joe was going through it. How did Wemby ball out in
Well,
France?
one game he did.
What did I say? 30 or less?
Yeah, Spurs. I owe you. You said 34 or less.
Yeah.
They got the big win the first game. They blew out the Pacers in game one.
Yeah.
Game two, the Pacers came back and blew out the Spurs. And,
Yeah.
of course, I had to put out there, man, it would have been nice if Sohan, if we had Sohan's defense. Dude, did you see Sohan's plus minus
Oh, yeah,
that game?
I did. And we were calling that out the other day, too. And Los, when I was talking with Jeff, I said I was told that Sohan would be the savior of the team.
Yeah, that's what I was told, too.
You know?
All the stands came
Just
out.
wait. Just wait till Sohan comes back.
Just wait. He's going to improve the defense.
What happened?
Dude, he played. I'm looking at the box score right now. He played 14 minutes, right?
No, man.
His plus minus was minus 30
Jeez.
in 14 minutes.
You know what? It was so
minus 30.
It was so bad, Mike.
Oh, by the way, you know what Castle's was? Castle played 32 minutes. His plus minus was minus 6 in a game in which the Spurs lost by 38.
It was so bad, Mike, that if you look at the stat sheet across the board, and most of the Spurs players who played in that second game,
Yeah.
they were all in the minus, dude. But you know what? I'm still here, Sohan.
I'm still here, son. We are a week and a half away from the NBA trade deadline, so we have to talk about lots of things involving the Spurs this week as they come back to the United States, and they'll soon be starting the rodeo road trip. So let's go into last night's game, Joe.
No.
Bills, Chiefs. And it's one of those things where, you and I talked about this last week, how we're looking at the Bills thinking the Bills are the better team. And I said, we're going to come back on Monday and we're going to have a conversation about why do we bet against or why do we pick against Patrick Mahomes. And it's beyond Patrick Mahomes. Why do we bet against Patrick Mahomes and the officials? Because the officials seem to love everything that the Chiefs do. And I'm not that conspiracy guy kind of guy, man. Conspiracy theory kind of guy. But yesterday's 32-29 victory over the Bills showed to me that the Bills were just as good and mentally as tough as the Chiefs. Chiefs came out, hit them in the face early on. Bills clawed back. And it was one of those things where I thought that the Chiefs were going to knock them out, but the Bills kind of just kept creeping back. James Cook had himself a day. They need to hand that ball off to him more often, man. 13 carries for 85 yards. He looked really good. The Chiefs had no answer for him. But at the same time, the Bills had no answer for Patrick Mahomes. And you see, what was telling to me was when it got to 21-10 with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, I thought to myself, okay, the game's over. But Buffalo came back and scored a touchdown and make it 21-16. Now, that 21-10, Joe, did you see what happened on the play before the 2-minute warning?
Yeah, I did, man.
The clock went to 0 at 2:01, and they let him go straight to the 2-minute warning. How do you not penalize a team when we all see the clock ticking down, 2:03, 2:02, 2:01, and we see the game clock, the play clock going from 3, 2, 1, we see that the play clock is going to expire before the game clock. And for the officials to not go delay of game and push the Chiefs back in the red zone, well, why not? Then you had that play with Xavier Worthy, who, by the way, Texas Star back in the day. Xavier Worthy had a very questionable call. Now, it was an exciting play.
You have the play up.
I'm going to call it up right now. It was an exciting play. It reminds me very much of the whole Dez Bryant thing. Did Dez catch the ball? And that was against the Packers many, many years ago. And I remember when this all happened, thinking to myself, it looked like Dez caught it, but then by letter of the law, he didn't. Spirit of the law, he did catch it. But this is courtesy of CBS Sports and the NFL when they called it a catch in the AFC Championship game. So you have the defender going up, you have Xavier Worthy going up. And the thing is that neither player has possession of the ball right here, right? Neither player has possession of the ball, and then the ball hits the ground. And they called that a catch for the Chiefs wide receiver.
The hell?
That is an incomplete pass. There's not one person who has possession of the ball, and the ball actually turns and changes its direction when it hits the ground.
If Dez didn't catch it, that's not a catch.
If Dez didn't catch it, that is not a catch. Again, courtesy of CBS Sports. How do you make that a call? Because the whole point of it is, I understand that simultaneous control means it goes to the offensive player. I get that. And you can kind of say that they have simultaneous, they're trying to get simultaneous.
How can he have control of the ball? He has one hand on it.
Neither one has it.
No.
But what does that lead to? A Chiefs touchdown.
Yeah, that's BS, dude.
Did you see the non-call, the block in the back, Joe?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on. You see, the thing is, when you play the Chiefs, you're playing two games. You're playing one against the refs and the other one against the Chiefs, man.
Here's a big play that led to the touchdown right before halftime. What's wrong with this play? What's wrong with this play? There were 3 Bills players who were blocked in the back in one play.
They didn't call it.
Not one was called. Not one was called. There's one right there. There's one right there. You see right there? There's 2, 3. You can even make an argument that one was that one maybe not. Okay, you miss 1, fine. You miss 2, what in the hell? And then you have the play involving Josh Allen and whether or not he had the first down or not. Josh Allen, you look at him trying to go for it on. Oh, by the way, what people aren't talking about when it comes to the Josh Allen and the first down, did he actually make it across the line? Did you see the spot before that play? They made the first down the play before.
Yeah.
And they spotted it half a yard short, which led to this. So it never should have even come to this. It should never have come to this. Have to get to the line. It never needed to come to this. The play was the previous play was a first down, and they marked him down short. How is there not GPS involved? Why is there so much human error in all this? And why does all the human error go against the opponent of the Kansas City Chiefs? I'm not saying the Chiefs aren't great. Patrick Mahomes will more than likely get his 3rd straight Super Bowl victory. They've won the division title 9 times in a row.
You know why?
This will be what, ring number 4?
You know what this sounds like? This sounds exactly. Conspiracy theory time, Mike. As the Chiefs, the refs want the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl for a 3rd time.
Yeah. Tony O'Neill asking the question, if the Chiefs win a three-peat, is this the most controversial NFL dynasty team? Well, it's kind of hard to say because it's beyond this game. They've gone to the Super Bowl many times before this, right? And this would be what, win number? Would this tie the Cowboys for 5? It's like 5, right? Is what this would be.
I love this comment. MJ with the tinfoil hat.
It's not tinfoil hat. We're all seeing this. And Joe, it's not one of those things where we look back at it and think to ourselves, did this really happen? Did this really happen?
You know who they need to have out there?
Well, here's the thing, Joe. We knew before the game. We outright all said as sports fans. Do you know what this is as badass, Joe? You know when the last time this happened?
When?
Lakers Kings 2000. Shaq and Kobe, when they were allowed to basically bully the Kings and get away with murder, and the officials didn't do jack squat.
But who scored that winning point?
Ori. But the fact of the matter is that we have a $5 super check coming in from Chris Leha of MCS General Contracting. Say a grito for los llorones. Okay, are we crybabies? No, here's the thing, Leha. You are cheering because you are a Texas Tech, former student of Texas Tech, and that's where we saw Patrick Mahomes come from and star from. You have the red colored glasses. That is your guy. That is your boy. Okay?
But it's the
Everybody else who doesn't have a vested interest, who has just seen it, because I don't give two craps about the Chiefs. I don't give two craps about the Bills. I'm just watching this as a sports fan. I'm going, oh my God, do you see what's going on?
Well, Josh Allen, after the game, cracking his voice, you could kind of cracky there and almost tearing up.
Yeah.
Says, in order to be the best, you got to beat the best.
And the fact of the matter is that they're good enough to beat the best. The problem is that the officials, every single call that seems to be 50-50 goes the other way.
And I have told you since the beginning of the season, the NFL wants the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. And it's good for ratings.
And the Chiefs have gone like 10, 12, 15 games in a row in the playoffs where they've had fewer penalties than their opponent. The odds of that happening is like ridiculously low.
But what's good for business, Mike? Chiefs going 3-peat, plus you have Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
What are the ratings?
They showed Lester for in the past couple of games.
Yeah.
You know what else is good for ratings? I'm going to show you.
The grito? Let me do the grito for Chris.
Por presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
Yeah, pouring one out. Not a lot of people are going to be excited about a Super Bowl 59 involving the Chiefs and the Eagles again. Okay, because this isn't exactly a rematch of like, oh, these are teams that are beloved. I saw a T-shirt that someone made saying that they're cheering for both teams to lose. People have Chiefs fatigue. And let's just be honest, the Eagles are a very hard team to enjoy. But what makes it different, Joe, between 57 and 59, Super Bowl 57 59 is this, Joe. If you show my screen real fast, courtesy of Fox Sports, the fact that the Eagles now have Saquon Barkley, who is just ridiculous. Get the heck out of here. Was looking like a video game character out there. Right one, circle, 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 right one. Dude, he is so good. Now we're going to see, can the Chiefs stop Saquon Barkley? The thing is, Joe, Jalen Hurts, I don't trust. I don't trust Jalen Hurts. But can the Chiefs, who have a very good defense, a top 3 defense in the NFL, can they stop Saquon? Joe, do you think Saquon could be the one thing that turns things around for the Eagles and make it difficult for the Chiefs, Joe?
No, man. I think at the end of the day, the Eagles just ain't got it, dude. I think they could make it interesting, but I still think that the Chiefs are going to wind up besting the Eagles. Because you know what? I don't give a shit about no fucking Eagles.
Well, here's the thing.
Pinche lechuzas cagadas, man. I can't stand the Eagles, dude.
Well, Joe, last time they played the Super Bowl just 2 years ago, it was 38-35. It was a wonderful game. The Eagles led going into the fourth quarter. So it's not like they're afraid of the Chiefs. Remember, I was there for Radio Row with Sports Star back in the day. This was the Kelsey Brothers Bowl. Now, there's no Jason Kelsey this year, but Travis Kelsey's out there. History is going to be made out there, and Saquon Barkley just playing at a ridiculously high level right now. And it's kind of hard to imagine the fact that a team like the Giants didn't want him. They go in there to Lincoln Financial Field, their home field, and beat the Commanders yesterday 55-23, and it was all about the turnovers early, Joe. Saquon Barkley, 15 carries for 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's after he rushed for over 200 yards the game before. What do they say wins in the playoffs, Joe? Defense and running. What do the Eagles have? A top 5 defense, and they've got Saquon Barkley.
But the stupid thing is that no matter what you say, at the end of the day, this freaking Chiefs team, they just won't fucking die, dude. It's like the cockroach, the ghetto cockroach, right? No matter how many times you hit him with the chancla, that son of a bitch is going to start flying at you.
Sam Salinas reached out and says, no need to trust Jalen Hurts, rather, when Saquon's balling out. Yesterday, the Commanders fumbled the ball away 3 times. and Jaden Daniels threw a pick as well.
Look at Matt Lerma.
He says, rent-free, baby. I'm still here, Sohan. He's an Eagles fan, so congratulations to you. Hey, and I did say earlier in the year, about 5 or 6 weeks ago, that I wasn't a big believer in the Eagles.
No, Matt Lerma's not an Eagles fan. He's a Seahawks fan.
Okay, well, I saw him cheering for the Eagles
Yeah.
yesterday on Twitter. The thing is that you look at the NFC, you felt like the Lions were better. You felt like the Commanders were on a roll. You felt like certain teams out there were going to make it more difficult for the Eagles, and the Eagles were struggling down the stretch. The Eagles have finally put it all together because we look at what they did down the stretch. Yes, they were 14-3, but in the regular season, they barely beat the Giants. They barely beat Carolina. They barely beat Jacksonville. So they barely beat Cleveland. So this Philadelphia team was barely putting away bad teams. They make it to the playoffs, win back-to-back games. They still home field advantage because Detroit lost. Minnesota got knocked out. And all of a sudden, here we are. Philadelphia's back, baby.
You know what I think the biggest question is going to be? You think the Super Bowl over there, when it's going to take place in the Super Bowl in New Orleans, they can keep the lights on this time, Mike?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
What's the over-under on that? We got to make a bet.
It's going to be crazy because of what happened in New Orleans with that Bourbon Street massacre that happened there a few weeks ago. So there's going to be a lot of craziness out there.
Yeah.
We got to find out because you know what I haven't looked at, Joe? What do you think the spread is in this game?
God, dude.
Because I haven't seen it. I would say that the spread has to be, because they played close to Super Bowl 57.
I'd say 56, 58.
As 56, 58, I'd say 54.5 for the over-under. 56 sounds good.
Yeah.
But the actual spread, I think Kansas City is going to be favored by 5.5.
You think so? It's on neutral ground, man, so I'd give them at least 5.5.
So I'm going to look right now. Let's take a look. According to the spread right now, Kansas City favored by 2.
2? Damn.
Sportsbooks have Kansas City favored by 2. So if you believe in the Chiefs to repeat, this is it. So why does Vegas have the spread so low? I think because of the Saquon Barkley presence that the Eagles have. If they played so well against each other 2 years ago, and you bring in Saquon, again, the Eagles were winning in the fourth quarter of Super Bowl 57. You bring in Saquon, does it make that much of a difference? Can they control the ball? It's all going to be about two things: what the refs are doing, and it's going to be about turnovers. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And what I do like about what the Eagles are doing, they're telling Jalen Hurts, dude, it's not about you, man. Just give the ball to Saquon, give it to Gainwell, give it to somebody. And it's a running team, and that's what makes them a difficult team to play against. Now, the weird thing is that these two teams have been playing in cold weather the last couple of weeks, and now they're going to be playing in a dome facility where it's 72 degrees and all that stuff. But Jalen Hurts yesterday, 20 for 28, 246 yards, 1 touchdown. Almost had the over-under. The over-under was 250 for him passing. But yeah, Will Shipley with four rushes for 77 yards, including a 57-yarder. Kenneth Gainwell with 3 carries. Kenny Pickett, well, that doesn't count. Even Dallas Goedert got in on the rushing. A.J. Brown was not reading the book. Remember, he had 10 yards in a playoff victory, and he seemed to be bored to tears. 6 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Goddard had 85 yards. You look at it, and the Eagles just are a legit team, Joe. But we all know what's going to happen, right?
Wheels are going to fall off, man. The refs are going to give the game to Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. We all know it. Jaden Daniels' rookie season comes to an end. I feel bad because it wasn't on him. He did look a little shaky early on, but when you have Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols, and Diami Brown all fumble and lose the ball, that's not Jaden Daniels' fault. That's not his fault. It wasn't like he was out there throwing 3 or 4 or 5 picks. He wasn't doing what Sam Darnold did.
Yeah,
right?
You know what's going to happen, man. Some third world country, man. These kids are going to be getting the Eagles Super Bowl jerseys, dude. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen.
So Sith is coming out saying NFL rules state that the refs can reward a score if a team continues to commit penalties in a row. So this was all about the tush push. And it's a stupid play, Joe. It's a stupid play.
Is it?
It's not a football play. It's a rugby play. They're playing rugby. It's not this is like saying that for a field goal, instead of kicking it through the uprights, we're going to throw the ball through the uprights. Yeah, well. It is a rugby play, and it needs to be outlawed. There should not be any play that has a 95 to 99% accuracy of being successful.
Well, until they go ahead and change the rules, they're going to keep doing it.
That's it. And now, and what's going to make it worse, Joe, is that other teams are going to start adopting it.
Oh, no doubt.
You know, it's a cheater type of thing because, and then you saw the players for the Commanders trying to time it by jumping over, and they're like, well, you might hurt somebody. Well, how else do you stop it? How else do you stop a rugby scrum for 1 yard? It's impossible. The only way that gets stopped is by them fumbling the snap.
Yeah. You know what? I think this is a good time for me to go ahead and say that. I think I'm officially done with the Cowboys, man. I might just jump ship. You know, I saw the announcements that they had with the new head coach, and everybody saying they're going to have the press conference around 11 a.m.
Yeah, Brian Schottenheimer named the head coach.
This team's going to suck for a number of years, man.
The Cowboys signed as their head coach to a multi-year deal Brian Schottenheimer, who was the offensive coordinator who didn't make calls, right? And it's been heavily criticized by everybody because a lot of people wanted them to go after Deion Sanders or a player like that. And I was on Twitter earlier today, and Jane Slater retweeted an interview. Jane Slater of the NFL Network, you'll find on San Antonio Sports Star periodically, showed that Michael Irvin was on his podcast, and we'll play some of it in a little bit. And if you can show my screen.
Yeah.
Michael Irvin went to his podcast, and he was sick, by the way. He was just recovering from the flu. And we're going to play a little bit in a second, but what he is screaming about is the fact that he says that the Cowboys lost out on a opportunity. The opportunity was to do something great, and he believes doing something great was to go after Deion Sanders. Do everything that you can do to bring Deion as the head coach.
Jerry Jones even talked to Pete Carroll.
Yeah. And Pete Carroll used the Cowboys as leverage to go get the gig in Vegas.
He gave Jerry a big F you,
Yeah.
threw him the finger, said peace.
So Michael Irvin talks about the fact that, and he starts screaming, dropping F-bombs like crazy, talking about the fact that you have 30 years of incompetence with the Cowboys and they haven't done anything. And he says, can you imagine an entire generation of Cowboy fans have no winning culture, have never experienced a Super Bowl, even an NFC championship game. And he says how embarrassing it is that every team in the NFC has been to the conference championship since 2010, except for the Cowboys, and it's been since 1995.
Yep.
He goes on to say that young people are more in love with the Chiefs or the Eagles or the Patriots because those are the winning teams. And he says, if you go 30, and he goes, you add 10 more years to it, because he says the fact of the matter is, look how pissed off he is. And we'll probably start it right there. He says, if you look at this team and you go another 10 years without doing anything, and you go 40 years, you cease becoming America's team. You're no longer America's team.
I think they ceased that already since
If
they haven't done nothing.
If you're an afterthought, and if young people who are in their teens, 20s, and 30s don't give a crap about you, and the only people who do are people in their 60s and 70s at this point going, well, back in the 90s, well, how many chips do you got? He goes, you've lost credibility.
Yeah, it's not even about chips. It's like, how relevant have you been over, like, say, in the 2000s, right? From 2000 all the way up until 2025. How relevant have you been to where your team is getting into the playoffs? You're going to a championship game. Mm-hmm. That has not been the case. They usually get trounced, in the wild card game. They get beat on their own home field.
About 9:30, we're gonna go in the room.
Okay, so I'm going to start it right here. This is Michael Irvin's own podcast, by the way. I apologize. I was just trying to get the sound ready. So keep going, Joe. What were you saying?
No, it's like you go to the wild card game, and you always wind up letting another team come in to your home field and beat you. They upset you when you're favored to win, heavily favored to win. And this is a trend that keeps on continuing. And Cowboy fan can go ahead and set their clock by it. What happened with the debacle that was the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers?
You're right.
Oh, man, they're all excited. And I said, no. There's too much time on the clock. I said, I know this team. They're going to F it up. Just watch. Hold my beer. Sure enough, they messed that one up.
Yeah.
And it's just, you just look at the history of what the Cowboys have done. In big moments, they fold. They don't have a winning culture anymore. The only culture that's here right now is a losing culture. Disappointment.
And the losing culture goes from the get-go, you know,
Yeah.
in the sense that Michael Irvin is talking about the fact that that he's around the team and he sees their schedule. He sees what time they're expected to do certain things, and he goes, it's all wrong. He goes, there's no discipline because the coaches don't ask for, don't discipline. They don't have any accountability.
Yep.
And he goes on to say, how can you have accountability and be taken seriously if the person being brought in to fix it was part of the problem in the first place?
Look at it. Like this, spoken like a true Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Sith Lord lies pretty relevant because we still have all the headlines and March sales are peak.
Yeah.
But what happened to the hardware? There's no hardware to speak of anymore. You're not raising a trophy if you're a Cowboy fan.
Let's hear Michael Irvin talk about all this. And by the way, this is on his podcast, his own YouTube page. And apologies if he drops F-bombs like Joe Garcia does.
You got to take him off mute. No,
Then we're going to go have meetings and watch film till about 9. We'll get us a snack. About 9:30, we're going to go in the room, play cards, hang out for a minute. The whole damn while we're talking game plan and what we must do.
Okay, just to kind of set this up, I heard this earlier. He's talking about what it takes the weekend of the game. And he says that the players don't meet, they don't congregate, they're not friends with each other, they're not doing the meetings the way they should, they're meeting late, and when they are, they're not really taking it seriously.
A promise made, one man to another. I will get my damn job done today. That's how you win championships. And you make the promise over and over to each other. You make it when you're with each other. And if you're not creating these times together, when the fuck you gonna make these promises? You talk all off season about money. You don't talk about winning. And then when it's time to be talking football, you got everybody home, sitting at home. Now Brian's going to come in. What is he going to say? We're going to start showing up at the hotel. We're going to have curfew. They're going to say it again. Oh, man, what you doing, dog? Oh, okay, nigga, you going to change like this on us? This how you going to change? Oh, we got you the job. That's what they're going to say. And now you're risking losing the whole locker room. I hope I'm wrong. But I'm telling you, I know man. And I do know this. I know how to win championships. I got hardware everywhere. All my shit ain't fake. People put, whatever they put back there, that's all real hardware. Ain't a piece back there fake. And it comes from everywhere, on all levels. Don't tell me I don't know how to get it. And I'm telling you, that ain't how to get it. It takes focus, man. It takes this dedication. And it has to come from the top. Now, how do we do that? How do we do that? How do you do the same damn thing and get something different?
sounds like a Spurs.
Well, yeah, and we're going to get into that in a second because, you know, he's saying, hey, you need a fresh perspective. You need to someone to come in and clean up house, right? You need someone to come in here and have the balls to tell the players that they're going to be held accountable. And instead, you promote somebody from within who, by the way, no one else wanted, has never had any success anywhere else. And Michael Irvin goes, how are we going to trust somebody who's been on like 15 teams? He goes, do you know what it means when you bounce off of 15 teams? It means no one wanted to keep you. So how is he a head coach when no one else wanted him? Interesting. So more sound that is very similar to this involves the NBA and involves our San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. You know, we love watching Kevin Garnett. I hate Chuck, Charles Barkley, Shaq, Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson. Whatever that show is on TNT. Complete garbage, dude. It's complete garbage. It was fun for a while. It's been crap for the last 5 years, dude.
You don't like Charles Barkley's jokes about the big old women here in San Antonio?
I don't mind them, but the fact of the matter is that they provide nothing. And when you saw Colin Cowherd's producer go off on these guys saying that they do nothing to promote the NBA because all they do is shit on the product and they talk crap about Jokic and all that stuff, they announce the award for Jokic being MVP, and what happens? Instead of congratulating him, they tell him that they didn't think he deserved it. And then they say that the game was better when they played, and they do nothing to make it sound like that you should be watching the NBA. That was a controversial take by that producer of the Colin Cowherd show. It wasn't even Colin Cowherd who said it.
Yeah.
But I endorse it, right? But you take a look at Kevin Garnett. He has this thing going on with Paul Pierce, and they do their podcast. And, of course, they had to bring up Victor Wembanyama. And the thing about Victor Wembanyama was they're asking the question, what should he be doing in the offseason? Because what's he going to plan on doing? He's going to plan. Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 is reporting that Wemby is going to go play some ball in France, right? He's going to do the French leagues and all of that stuff. But what do you do now? Like, what should he be doing? Kevin Garnett goes on a little bit of a tirade here. He's going to drop a lot of N-words along the way. You know, he's African American. I suppose they're allowed. That's what they do, right? You know, hard A. This was with A's, not ERs.
What do you mean they?
They? What do you mean? What do you mean, you people? It is what it is.
Oh, Mike, dude.
African American can say it on the street, but I can't, right? So here's the thing. So this is All the Smoke Productions. You see Kevin Garnett, who is talking about Victor Wembanyama, saying he has a message for Wemby on how to become tougher. Do we agree?
Hey, young fella, if you hear the big dog out here, you feel me? If you hear your Uncle Ticket out here, spend a summer in L.A., bro. Go up to UCLA. Because you know what's up there? Everything you're looking for.
Okay, so here's the thing. At UCLA every summer, you have NBA stars and also the journeymen and all that. They all come together just to work out together.
Yeah.
And he's saying, come to L.A., work out with other NBA players.
Go up to UCLA and play against that caliber shit for a whole week and see how you come out of there. It ain't no referees in there. It ain't no mom in there. It ain't no dads. Feel me? It's you and them other players in there that's hungry and starving. And that's when you get to play against them Pat Bevs and the motherfuckers that you ain't never heard of. And who is this guy right here? Or you see that old nigga in the corner over there getting J's up, and you're like, oh, Paul running? Yeah, you need to go in there like that. Because the next level, to me, for Wemby, is presence. Flashing, calling forward. Yeah, motherfucker, yeah. Not giving a shit, slobbing at the mouth, becoming a demon. Yeah, man, you know what I'm talking about? Because when you go to that next level, you become a demon. And nothing else to explain that. You are a complete demon. You dominating everything, you grilling niggas.
He get on the Greek
get
Freak
that.
strength program. Remember how Greek Freak was like that too?
That's what I'm
Skinny
trying
like
to tell
that?
y'all. Man, y'all just not training with Kobe, myself, some niggas that was real animals and got that instilled in him, bro. That's what I'm saying. For women to go like this,
right.
Bro, you gotta have to stay in America. You got to put your feet in the ground, dog. You got to lock in. I get it. International ball may be growing, but if you want that swag, you want that heart and soul, bro. You gotta stay on soil. A young fella.
That's Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce.
Is he
All
wrong,
Smoke
though?
Productions. Basically saying, as I retweeted, Wemby needs to get that dog in him. Sam Salinas on our YouTube stream says, no lies detected. No lies detected. He's also saying we're all adults here. We're perfectly fine.
Ice is knocking on Joe's door. You know what? That's the thing with Wemby, man. And we saw this. And we've seen this out of the Spurs team. And I've been saying it for a while. This team is soft. Wemby, soft. And the team is going to go as Wemby goes, right? And if he's going out there portraying an acronym of being soft, they need more dogs on this team, man. They need somebody that has a chip on their shoulder. They need to form an identity of not being soft.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit, okay? Because Wemby's 21 years old?
Yeah.
Right? And who are the two phenoms that were big men that the Spurs have had in the past? We had David Robinson and we had Tim Duncan, right? Here's the problem that the Spurs have. You look at the 1989 Spurs roster. Did we need to have, which by the way went 56 and 26, was 21 wins up to 56. It was the biggest turnaround in NBA history at that point. This was a team that had players like Frank Brakowski and Terry Cummings, Caldwell Jones, Mike Mitchell, Rod Strickland, David Wingate. For those of you too young to remember this team, All 5 of those guys would beat the shit out of you if you stood up to Robinson. Anybody touch Robinson, they had these dudes out there.
Don't forget Frank the Brick Brikowski.
Brikowski was just like
a bruiser.
He was a bruiser, man. You know, we even had Uwe Blah back on that team.
Yeah, Brikowski.
Even Maurice Cheeks.
Oh, yeah.
Mo Cheeks, as old as he was at that point,
Brikowski.
11 years in, Mo Cheeks, West Texas, A&M, he would get in your face.
He would. But I'm saying Brikowski, that brother could have 0 points on the night. But if somebody even breathed wrong on David Robinson, he's coming off the bench.
Exactly. So you look at that team, that roster, and then you look at year 2, Tony Massenberg.
Yeah.
David Greenwood, Sidney Green. I know these aren't big names, but do you know what these names are? They were people in the way that would get the team, that they would not let Robinson. They didn't have to have Robinson be that dog.
Yeah.
Just go play your game. Now let's go a few years later, 97 Spurs roster. This is when the Spurs got Tim Duncan.
They had Kevin Willis.
Carl Herrera. You going to step up to Carl Herrera? Jaren Jackson. Will Perdue. Again, another bruiser, right? That's euphemism for big white dude.
Yeah.
Chuck Person.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Malik Rose. And then years later, you get Mario Ellie, and you get players like that.
Yeah, Robert Ory, dude. You can't forget him.
Robert
he was
Ory.
the biggest enforcer out there.
So the Spurs back when David Robinson first came in the league the first 2 years,
Yeah.
and when they had Tim Duncan his first 2 years, they had enforcers around them to kick their ass. The Spurs only have one enforcer, but he's not really an enforcer, and that's Jeremy Sohan. Jeremy Sohan is willing to scrap up, right? But I don't think Jeremy Sohan is willing to throw down. And that's the thing about it is that now you look at Wemby, you have to tell Wemby, well, go be stronger. Go be that dog. Who does he have on the team to show him how to be a dog?
Look at that. JHNSB. Trey Jones is a dog. A teacup chihuahua.
Sam Salinas talking about Alvin Robertson, when, you had,
Jerome
Gervin
Kersey.
back in the day. Jerome Kersey. It's hard. I agree with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett that we need to see more dog out of Wemby, and that maybe he should go to these camps that are all NBA players only and go get toughened up, right? Iron sharpens iron. But who on this roster right now is showing them how to do that? Are we going to get that from Keldon Johnson or Devin Vassell? Are we going to get that from Chris Paul? I mean, Chris Paul, that one time who did he slap in the face? And then he ran backwards, slapped in the back of the head. That one scrum earlier in the year.
Oh, I forgot who that was.
I think that might have been against that guy from the Rockets. So I understand. Go be that dog. He's never had a dog in front of him. He's never had a dog teammate. It's kind of hard to do that, which means that Brian Wright, Greg Popovich, all of the front office needs to surround him with better and more rugged and tougher players. Dude, you don't F around with the Celtics. You don't F around with the Nuggets because they'll come after you. Even the Lakers to some extent. The Warriors had Draymond Green to mess with. Draymond Green beat the crap out of his own teammate. He's going to step up to you. The Spurs don't have that. So how are we going to tell Wemby? I agree he needs more dog in him, but how are we going to tell him to be a more dog if he doesn't have that on the team? That means that he has to go out and meet other people who are like that. Like he says, go hang out with Pat Beverly. Pat Beverly's a dick, but the guy can play ball.
Yeah.
He's scrappy. Toughen up.
That's what happens with Wemby, man. You saw that in the second game when any team goes ahead and really gets physical with him, or even a particular player like Giannis, right? That was a marquee matchup. And what did Giannis do?
Yeah.
He got physical with Wemby. He imposed his strength, his will on him. Wemby folded like a $5 chair, bro.
Well, Dylan Brooks is the one I was thinking of, by the way.
He couldn't move Dylan Brooks.
But
I'm like, bro, you're 7'4".
But look at what they're talking about with Giannis. Giannis, and I asked the question a while back. What if Wemby just happens to just to be Giannis? Giannis, who's now 30 years old. When Giannis came into the league at 19, same age as Wemby, Giannis averaged 7 points per game, 6.8. And then he upped it to 12.7. At 21, he averaged 16.9. And then at 22.9 points per game at age 22, his first All-Star appearance. It took 4 years for Giannis to become an all-star. Wemby's doing it in 2. So I know that there is a desire for Wemby to become an all-time great as quickly as possible. But, I mean, he is on path, Joe. He's on his 2nd year. LeBron James. Was LeBron James an all-star his rookie year? No. We think about LeBron James being an all-star 20 years in a row, but his first season, he wasn't an all-star, even though he averaged 20 points per game.
Yeah.
He wasn't an all-star until when? His 2nd season.
Wemby he's not going to be on the first team.
Right.
That's already a given. He can make the 2nd team.
Yes.
You know, and it's basically
Well, he'll be a reserve this year.
it's going to be because of the coaches, right? The coaches are going to be in the players or what have you. They have a say in it. He's going to get in there. He's
Right.
going to be in the NBA All-Star game. He's going to be an All-Star, bona fide All-Star.
And he'll be an all-NBA player,
Yeah,
first or second
no
team.
doubt, no doubt. You know, but the questions with Wemby is it's like this, man. Spurs fans, and this is the hottest of hot takes that I've had in a long time. Spurs fans feel a certain way about Kawhi, right? They don't like him. They hate him now. I agree with them. He's a snake. But when he was prime Kawhi helped the Spurs win a chip, right?
He dominated.
He dominated, right, on both ends of the court. Prime Kawhi right now is better than Wemby.
Yeah.
And there's no lies in that statement because prime Kawhi helped the Spurs win a chip. Wemby can't even get this team into a play-in.
Well, let's talk about prime Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi Leonard, again, the Spurs got him in the first round, midway through the first round, 15th pick overall back in 2011. Prime Kawhi didn't become prime Kawhi early on. Kawhi at age 20 averaged 7.9 points per game, averaged 12 at age 21. It wasn't until he was Defensive Player of the Year at age 23. He became an MVP candidate at age 24 and 25. That's when he was prime Kawhi, Joe. So I understand you are right in saying that Kawhi Leonard, when he was at his highest powers, at his peak with the Spurs, is better than what we've seen through Wemby.
And it's because prime Kawhi at that point in time, he was more consistent,
Right.
you know?
Well, I mean, Kawhi was all NBA first team back in age 24 and 25. So should we just simply be patient? Right? Dark Aeons reaches out to us on our YouTube stream and says, what are we doing drafting all these rookies and not surrounding Wemby with the veterans that he needs? We did get Harrison Barnes. We did get Chris Paul, but Chris Paul's 39 years old. And Harrison Barnes is a great player. What do we call him? He's the Toyota Camry.
The Camry.
He's the Camry.
No,
of
the
team.
Corolla.
He's the
Corolla.
Toyota Corolla.
Toyota Corolla.
Very reliable, not flashy, but he also isn't somebody that you are going to fear on the court as well. I like him, but Kobe Bryant, didn't become an All-Star until his 2nd season either. He missed the All-Star team his 3rd year, right? So it takes a while for these All-Stars to develop into their full powers. The problem is that everyone's looking at it going, it's not that Wemby doesn't have the tools. He's just a little soft. And either one of two things happens. You toughen him up, or he needs to add more muscle to the frame.
And look at everybody saying, you're missing a big point, about all these guys. They had better talent around them. There's no lies in that statement, and that's part of it. And I've gone on, Locked On Spurs, which is going to air today. Me and Jeff recorded. And I said the same thing, that currently as the Spurs are constructed, everybody's seeing that this is it.
Right.
They can't go no further because they don't have the talent to surround Wemby with the type of players that he needs that are going to be more conducive to him having a better future and making this team go a little bit further than they are right now. Right now, they're only going to be as good as the talent they're surrounding Wemby with. And we're seeing right now, they're just not a very good team.
Here's the thing about it, Joe. I was talking to you about, we've been talking about prime Kawhi. Prime Kawhi is the 3rd best Spur that we've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
Prime Duncan's 1. Prime Robinson's 2. Prime
Nephew
Kawhi is 3. And then you probably would say Gervin at 4. And then probably Tim or Tony, whichever you want, is prime 5 or 6 as the 5th or 6th best Spur of all time at their peak levels.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to throw out another prime.
Oh, God.
Prime Alvin Robertson.
Oh, God, dude.
301 steals in a season.
He was good. He was a good player.
NBA record to this day, nearly 40 years later. Spurs have had a very interesting history when it comes to these players, man.
Yeah.
Good Cheetah. Hey, there's a new name. Wait, no, we heard Cheetah for a couple weeks ago. Now I think about it.
He's there.
He says, Wemby want to be like KD, unfortunately. 7'4" shooting guard pulling up for three, shaking my head. Spurs front office refused to believe Devin, KJ, and Sohan is the answer. Everything changed when Wemby was drafted. So when we talk about adding him to the core didn't exist because the core is about Wemby and Wemby only. And that's the problem, is that the Spurs had these pieces that don't necessarily mix together. People keep asking me the question, do the Spurs have a trade in them? The Spurs, I promise you, Joe, will make a trade between now and next Thursday.
It's going to be a stupid-ass trade that nobody cares about.
You know what? We might see the last week of Chris Paul. And no one wants to hear it. No one wants to see it. Spurs right now 20 and 23. The Kings right now are 2 games ahead of the Spurs for the last spot in the play-in tournament. Why not trade Chris Paul to, I don't know, Phoenix? Why not trade him to Denver or Memphis or somebody like that? Get a late first rounder for him. Just get something for him. Get rid of Trey Jones. Trey Jones is on an expiring deal. People like expiring deals, right? Get something in return for these guys.
You get Keldon on that deal, his contract. What happens? The amount of you have to pay for him
Actually goes down.
You know,
it goes down. The Spurs coming back from Paris, where they beat the Pacers by 30, then come back and lose by 38. How did that happen? We've got the Clippers coming up next. So the Spurs have 3 home games before they go on the rodeo road trip. So if you want to see your Spurs, you got Friday, Saturday, and Monday. Well, you got Wednesday, Friday, Saturday rather. So Wednesday, Clippers here in town. Get tickets for as low as $11. The Bucks, Giannis comes to town on Friday night. Saturday, the Miami Heat. We have to return the favor to them, right? And then the Spurs begin the rodeo road trip where they're gone from the 3rd all the way to the 20th. And then you have NBA All-Star Weekend in the middle.
How many
of all
games do you think they're going to win on this rodeo road trip?
Well, they're playing crappy teams. I mean, they play a good Memphis team, a decent Atlanta team. They play three good teams and a couple of bad teams. So I say the Spurs go 2-4.
This team hasn't won more than 4 games in a row. Right. What are the chances of them winning 5? Not very likely. And I've seen what has happened to them in the past on the rodeo road trip. I don't have high hopes for this team. I'll be lucky. To me, they're lucky if they win 2 or 3 games on this road trip.
Yeah, Spurs do come back for 2 games, the 20th and 21st against Phoenix and Detroit, and then they go back on the road again for back-to-back road games against New Orleans, Houston, and the Memphis Grizzlies. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 12 games between February 3rd and March 1st are going to be on the road. Let's say bye to our team, man. And then they go to Austin, right? We have a super chat coming in from the Drew Show.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Somebody over here was cool. Wait. Scroll up. Bear County Social Apparel, Mike Baez, saying Kawhi was not better than Prime Manu. Hate to break it to you, but Prime Kawhi was first team All-NBA. Manu was an all-star. First team All-NBA means you're one of the 5 best players in the entire NBA for that season. Prime Kawhi was most definitely better than Prime Manu and Prime Tony. Not even close. Drew Show with a $5.47 super chat. Thank you for making it rain, Drew. Saying, quote, Wemby is shaping up to be the most unstoppable player ever seen. I've never seen anything like it. I'm with Mike. Maybe right. The most unstoppable player. You know, Wemby, the only people who's going to stop Wemby when it's all said and done is Wemby. That's going to be the only person that's going to stop him. Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 for your daily Spurs coverage.
Yeah. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/Jeff facebook.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Locked On Spurs for your daily podcast involving the Spurs. And Jeff Garcia at Jeff G Spurs Zone doing a fantastic job. Lots of coverage that he has there from Paris, a lot of interviews regarding the Spurs over there. He has comments coming in about that whole Kevin Garnett situation. Him going off on Wemby, basically saying that Wemby is not necessarily as ballsy or as strong or as big of a dog as he should be.
Wemby ganas.
Today's Locked On Spurs podcast.
It's me.
You, Joe Garcia.
I'm the guest.
Mid-season grades.
Y'all got to listen to this, man, because Jeff wouldn't let me go ahead and say that Prime Kawhi was better than Wemby. Because I wasn't, he's like, no, you better not say that on the show. I'm like, all right, cool. But it's like maybe a subject that we'll revisit at some point in time. Mm-hmm. But I was telling them off the air, whatever. I said, where's the lie? And Jeff was just smiling the whole time. He's probably thinking the same thing. That's the hottest of hot takes.
Yeah.
And I told my son, and my son started laughing. He goes, that's a terrible take. Then he started laughing. I said, well, where's the lie?
Where's the lie? There is no lie.
And he just started thinking about it.
I mean, Jesse A. asked, saying Manu was held back. Dude, Manu most definitely was held back. I mean, just Kevin Garnett, we've been talking about him. Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant have all said that Manu Ginobili was probably the third best shooting guard in the NBA of the 2000s. Kobe Bryant basically says it's him at 1, right? The late great Kobe Bryant, him at 1, Dwayne Wade at 2, and Manu at 3. I see that as being factual. Manu went off and played for the Knicks, or he played off for any other team, and wasn't the sixth man. Would have averaged 25 points per game. Would have also have been an MVP, or not an MVP, an All-Star many years, right? But was Manu Ginobili ever going to be the talent to be an All-NBA first-team player? The answer is no.
And Spurs,
what made Kawhi Leonard prime Kawhi was that he was a lockdown defender. Manu was a good defender.
Jeremy Sohan. Is Jeremy Sohan a lockdown defender? No, he's just a little bit above average, right?
Yeah, I'd say he's a tick above average, maybe 2 ticks above average. He's good. He's a good defender. Yeah. He's a good defender. He's not a lockdown guy. Probably never will be.
He's all right. He's the best defender that the Spurs have right now on the team.
No, he's third.
Well, I think Castle's getting up
Wemby's
there.
1. I'll put Castle at 2.
Castle is actually really good, man. I think Castle's ceiling is a lot higher than Devin Vassell. Mm-hmm. I think you go ahead and just go with Wemby. Area 51, right? Mm-hmm. You get Wemby, Castle. Everyone else can go. What's the name going to be? Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
So Tony's asking the question, can we say that Wemby's in his prime yet? He's not. He's not. But I think the inflection point, the pivot that we have here, Joe, that Kevin Garnett is bringing up, is whether or not Wemby is doing what he should be doing in the offseason to become an all-time great. Is it detrimental for him to stay in France and play with his friends and countrymen? Or should he be balling out in the summer with NBA players?
I think he should be balling out with NBA players. If you want to go ahead and beat the best, you got to be in there and you got to get in the trenches, man. Mm-hmm. And sometimes being out there, getting bodied, getting pushed over, all these things are going to make you stronger, man. You can't be afraid. You can't be scared. You got to embrace the madness, man. And you know what? He's going to go in there and something else will come out. That's what Kevin Garnett is telling him.
Right.
Don't be afraid, man. Go out there. These guys, they're going to be tough on you. They're going to play man ball with you, but at the end of the day, you're going to come out a better player.
You're going to be better because of it.
Yeah.
I was watching that movie again, Whiplash. Okay?
Yeah.
I watched it again with my girlfriend's son. He was in band himself. And the question becomes, can you achieve greatness without adversity?
No.
And can you achieve greatness without somebody saying that you can't do it, right? If you've never seen the movie, it's about a psychotic band director who's trying to get the most out of a musician, out of his musicians, because he's hoping to find the next great.
Yeah. And
the main question of the story is that do you need to have someone that antagonistic to you? And part of it is yes. I mean, look at Giannis's transformation. What did Giannis do? Did Giannis go back to Greece to play with his countrymen? Or did Giannis play? And yeah, Giannis did play in the Olympics for Greece. I'm not saying that he never did it. But he spent his offseason working out with Kobe. He found the doggest of the dogs and went to go play with them.
Yeah.
Tony or Matt Lerma is losing his mind about something down there. I can't believe people are actually advocating to trade Wemby. Like, what the F is in this chat? Okay, I'm not advocating that.
We're not advocating for that. We're just saying that
anybody who's advocating for that is off their mind or just kidding.
Look, Wemby is going to be a good talent in the league, but all they're saying is in order to get there faster, you got to go ahead and go into the trench, right? And then come back a better player.
John reaches out to us on our YouTube stream. I like that comment there.
Say?
So Spurs don't have any lockdown defenders. Wemby and Castle are the closest to being one. We don't have any junkyard dogs or anyone with killer instinct. Way too many pretty boys. John, no lies detected, and welcome to the Area 210 podcast.
Yeah, and I was talking with Jeff, too, on the podcast, right? And I was telling him the same thing. It's very obvious the way that the Spurs get beat. Their transition defense is horrid, man. And the way that these teams go on runs against the Spurs, where they go on 10, 14-point runs, and you see the way they do this against the Spurs team, when the Spurs have their starters out there, right, mind you.
Right.
It's not sexy. All they do is that they know the Spurs are so bad on transition defense. The other teams, they all have their second or third stringers out there, and they're beating this team by just doing something simple, basic fundamental basics of basketball. Pass the ball around. Get the ball to whoever has the best shot, right?
Right.
And all they're doing is they're moving well without the ball. They're getting in good position. They're doing backdoor cuts, getting to the basket easy. And the other team is just, the team is just sitting out there looking all right, passing the ball, getting it to the person who's going to have the best shot, right? Instead of just chunking up threes, instead of just chunking up a long two, right? A long jumper. They're playing basic fundamental basketball, and that's when the Spurs have no answer for these teams that are having their second or third stringers out there, and they're going on a 10-point run, a 14-point run in the third quarter, and basically the Spurs have no answer. Mitch Johnson finally decides to call a timeout, and it's too late by then. They just can't overcome the deficit. But it's not sexy by any means. And then you look at the Spurs on the other end, and what are they doing? Playing hero ball. And that's what gets them in trouble. They can't get stops in transition. They can't learn the basic fundamentals of basketball. And the team is not even playing up to their own expectations at this point because they can't figure those little basics out. And until they can figure the basics out, this team is going to look worse and worse as the year goes on.
I'll say this about the hero ball that you brought up. Devin Vassell's doing a little bit better about that. He was awful with hero ball a while ago. But the problem that you have with the Spurs, Joe, is that they are who they are.
Yeah.
Wemby, we know, has another level. You could take a look at what he's doing. He's now averaging 24 points per game. Going to be an all-star for the first time ever. We're assuming that to be the case. He will more than likely be Defensive Player of the Year. We know that there's another level. There's probably another mini level to Sohan. Probably not a full level, but we know that there is one. We know that Stephon Castle does. Barnes does not have another level. No. He is who he is. He's gonna go down in value. Chris Paul's 39. Again, he has one good game and then 2 or 3 mediocre ones. Trey Jones is who he is. And Devin Vassell might average 15, 16 points per game. But guess what, Joe? He is who he is. We know what he is.
Yeah, Trey Jones needs to leave.
Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson don't have that next gear. They're not going to get better. They just are who they are. And they're valid NBA players. But if you believe that this is going to be a core member of this team to surround around Wemby, then to quote the people who get mad at me on Twitter, Joe, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. Joe, have you noticed, and this is the problem, this is a problem, and I want Matt Lerman, who's in our stream right now, to give me his answer to this. Have you noticed the hesitancy of Mitch Johnson and Pop behind him pulling the strings? The hesitancy of them playing Stephon Castle and Jeremy Sohan at the same time. Have you noticed that? When one comes in, the other comes out.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because both of them can't shoot the three. Right? Sohan, broken shot. lack of confidence on shooting the three for Stephon Castle. But the shot doesn't look broken. Just it's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
There's a problem with that dynamic, Joe, because I think at some point, and it's not going to be now, might not even be next season. I think at some point, the way the Spurs are looking, they might have to pick one.
Some of these pieces don't fit, man. Sohan's one of them, and Vassell's the other.
Well, I'll agree with you on Vassell. Sohan can fit with Wemby, but if you fit him along Wemby, you can't have Castle out there.
No.
Castle fits with Wemby, but if you have Castle out there, you can't have Sohan out there because you can't have two players who shoot 28% from three.
True enough.
But Wemby, I think, plays better offensively with Castle out there because Castle can create a shot and Castle can get the ball to him because Castle's a ball handler, facilitator. Wemby plays better with Sohan when it comes to defense because he doesn't have to bang bodies as much.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that would solve all this, Joe, the one thing that would solve all this and put all the pieces of the puzzle together is if Stephon Castle somehow improves his three-point shot. If Castle improves the shot to 34, 35% like Wemby has, then you could play Castle along with Sohan, and they would all fit together. The problem is that if both of them can't shoot a three, you got to pick one or the other.
Look at that. Tim Gonzalez calling out.
I'm
Matt
still here,
Lerma.
Sohan.
And look at, right on cue, there's Sohan. Have Sohan's biggest supporter, Matt Lerma. Sohan been all right from three lately.
But he's still shooting them by himself. Wait until they put an arm on him. They let him shoot the ball. I mean, I'm not impressed with somebody who can knock down threes by him, with nobody in his face. At least when Castle is shooting the ball, although there have been some times last couple of games where they've left him alone. They're daring them to shoot.
Oh, yeah, dude. Why are they afraid of? Why would they be afraid
Matt
for them
Lerma
to
says
shoot?
Mitch has horrid rotations. Don't you talk about that way about Greg Popovich. Because those aren't Mitch's rotations.
That's y'all's king, man.
Those are Popovich's rotations. On top of that, happy birthday, early birthday to Pop, who turns 76 years old tomorrow. Pop. It's the 14-year anniversary of Pop being eligible for Social Security.
Yeah, look at this, Matt Lerma. If you think Sohan and Wemby don't fit together, you're crazy.
No. They do. But Castle doesn't fit with those two. And if you look at Castle with Wemby, they fit together. But they don't fit together with Sohan. That's the thing, Lerma. Am I wrong, Joe?
No.
Look at the last game. How many minutes are there in a game? 48.
48 minutes, man.
If you combine the number of minutes played by Castle and Wemby, Castle and Sohan, what was it? 48 minutes. You know why? When one came in, one came out.
Yeah.
So you can't have the number 4 overall pick in the draft be put in situations where he's not going to thrive. We know that Wemby is the number 1 most important player on this team. Who's 2? Who's the second most important? I'm not saying the second best player. Who is the second most important player on the Spurs where the Spurs have to look at him and go, that's number 2 in this piece. None of this whole bull crap about our Spurs young core. They're not young anymore. Who is that number 2 player?
I would have to say it.
Some Spurs fans would say Sohan. Some would say Castle.
I say Castle, man. I say it's Castle. Castle can do more than Sohan. Castle is a better, if you look at it from a perspective of stats, right?
Yeah.
Castle is a smarter defender than Sohan because Castle can be out there and he doesn't get as many fouls called against him. He's really good when it comes to that, right? And that's what you need out of one of your better players. You need him to be able to go out there, play defense, and not get so many foul calls against him, right? I'm not saying that Sohan's bad by any means as far as a defender. I just think at the end of the day, you get a little bit more out of Castle, and that's why I think he fits more alongside Wemby than Sohan does. Not saying that that Castle and Wemby and Sohan will never see the court together at some point. They probably will at some juncture.
Right.
But the thing is, when you have Sohan out there, what does Sohan do that Wemby can't? He lives inside the paint.
He lives because he wants to be in the paint defensively.
And Wemby doesn't. He wants to be on the perimeter.
That's the problem. That's the problem. And it's like the pieces of the puzzle don't go together, Joe. And the only way that they're going to go together is if Castle becomes a 3-point threat. If Castle becomes a 3-point threat, then Sohan and him can fit together. But they're oil and what's it called? They're oil water right now.
Mix.
They really are. Janice SB saying Jimenez is cooking. Damn straight I am. Jesse A says Pope can coach the NBA team. Pete Carroll can coach the NFL team of 73. We have a 78-year-old president. 70 is a new 50. No, 78 is a bad age for a president. 73 is a bad age for an NFL coach, and 76 is a bad age for a NBA coach.
You know, this is
all three of them are bad.
This is
when it
another
comes
hot
to
take.
age.
Another hot take that I got for you guys. Have you all seen Sohan peak already?
Yes. Well, no. Sohan has a half step of by the way, we don't talk politics here. When I say 78 was too old for a president, I was talking about Biden too. Okay, I don't like. I hate the fact that boomers still run this country. That's what pisses me off. Doesn't matter if it's left or right. I just don't want a boomer out there. But asking the question, is it possible for? Have you seen the best of Sohan? Sohan has another level, man. There's one more gear left in Sohan. I think that Castle has like 3 or 4 more gears left in him, which is why he's probably the better prospect. Sean saying Castle's more dog in him than even Wemby, which is why he's in the slam dunk competition.
Castle is not afraid, man. That's what I like about the kid. Kid's a baller, man.
Do you know what the one thing that we don't ever bring up about Castle that a lot of the people who did the player comps of these players, we don't know how tall Castle's eventually going to be. He's still growing. Can you imagine if Castle becomes 6'8"?
Yeah.
It is possible. Remember, David Robinson grew at age 20, 21.
Yeah.
Castle's that age still. What if Castle's still growing? What if we wake up next season and Castle grew an inch over the summer and is 6'7.5", 6'8"? That's going to be interesting.
Look at that. I'm still here, Sohan. He says, Matt Lerman says, oh, Sohan is in his prime now. Joe is wild today. I'm just saying, stating facts. You could say what, Sohan? He's not in his prime now? How many years has he been in the league? It's not his first year in the league anymore.
Right, was this year 3?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he has one more year left that he got picked up for on his
what do they think Sohan's going to be?
team option.
He's going to be this, sniper from the 3-point line?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be giving you 20 points a night? No. That's not his thing, man.
Yeah, well, I think what it is, it's delusional Spurs fan. Delusional Spurs fan, it's like, oh my God, this guy's so great. Dude, Sohan would not start for 25 of the teams.
No, he's coming off the bench, dude.
He's coming off the bench off all of them. And to some extent, Castle wouldn't be starting for teams either. But Castle would be getting, and Sohan would both be getting minutes, but they would be more role players than anything else. But Castle has something there. Castle, the lights are on. He's not afraid, Joe. When was the last time you saw a rookie like that? Because even Wemby, the first couple of months, was a little hesitant. Castle is not afraid to take the shot. He's hesitant on the 3, but everything else, it's natural. It's like watching Jaden Daniels out there being calm and collected. He doesn't seem to be rattled. I enjoy watching it.
And look at this. We got a $1.99 super chat coming in here from Tony Ornelas.
Tony Ornelas, thank you for the super chat, my man. Says JHNSB is Dwight Schrute. Jimenez is Michael Scott. Nice. It's happening. It's happening. Let's get some love to MCS General Contracting. You're wearing the hat because they're a big supporter of us, and we'll be giving away a Yeti of theirs pretty soon.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
The back of the Yeti says Diamond Hard Concrete because that's what they do, baby. It's Diamond Hard. It's the best that you can get out there. If you need a slab, if you need a driveway, if you need a sidewalk, you need to be ADA compliant, you need a pool, pickleball court, basketball court, sidewalk like they did at my house, give them a call, 210-774-9155.
And you know what? Let's give Mike some love.
Yeah, that's my cell phone number, 210-508-0369. I'm a financial advisor. Been doing it for 19 years, focusing on retirement planning, life insurance, investments, disability, long-term care, things like that. 210-508-0369. Man, my practice is going really well right now. I'm pleased with how things have transpired. I was a sales manager for so long. You go into finance, you develop after COVID or during COVID.
Yeah.
I decided to go back and become an advisor again and kind of not do my management role so well.
Yeah.
It takes a while. But I had 5 new people reach out to me over the weekend, so that's why I'm excited about this whole thing.
New business. It's always good.
Now, we're talking about Chris Layhoff from MCS General Contracting. He is, like me, a Saints fan. Now, he's the Chiefs are his Sancho team because he's a Mahomes guy. But if you could show my screen,
Sure.
This tweet hurt my feelings. It's Coach Lou Brown from the movie Major League. It says, every coach the Saints are calling these days. It's Lou Brown saying, let me think it over, will you, Charlie? I got a guy on the other line about some white walls.
Oh, God, man. You know what's funny here, too? Because the Sohan talk is always striking a chord with the Spurs fans, right? Sohan is the Dak of the Spurs.
Interesting.
And look at Leha says, don't you know, Joe, Sohan is the greatest player behind Wemby? He could be the main starter and main player for like 20 other teams. He's got the superstar potential laughing emoji. You know, this is the thing that's funny to me. When Spurs fans try to compare Sohan to somebody because he paints his hair, he's going to be Dennis Rodman. He's nowhere near Dennis Rodman. He's going to be a Bruce Bowen. He's never going to be a Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen was a lockdown defender, and he could actually knock down a consistent three-point shot. Sohan is not going to be any of those things. I think what you're seeing out of Sohan is he is who he is. This is what you're getting out of the kid. He could be here 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. This is all you're going to see of him.
If you can't shoot, you can't shoot.
Yeah, you can't fix it, dude.
And you know what? A part of it, Joe, I kind of blame Pop. That whole thing going on with the point guard experiment. And for all the Sohan stands out there who are like, he's so much better because he went through all that. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh, look at that. The Drew Show.
It says, I guess it's too much for our delicate superstar alien to stop just one of the opponents by demanding the ball. Got to blame Mitch and the timeouts. Drew Show letting it rain again. You know, it's weird because Wemby has had Mitch Johnson on his side. Mitch Johnson, a young coach, and I've always wanted a young coach on this team. It's been a while since the Spurs have had one. And the question becomes, what do you do with Wemby in year 3? I'm not a big fan of the idea of Pop coming back again. Pop turning 76 tomorrow. And for someone saying that 76 is the new 50, the dude just had a stroke, man. Obviously, it's not. But is it better for him to have continuity? We saw this with the Cowboys, right, Joe?
Yep.
What was one of the reasons why they went with Brian Schottenheimer? We didn't want Dak to learn a new playbook, a new terminology. We wanted continuity. Or is it better to bring somebody else to kind of shake up things?
You need to shake things up, man.
Is the Spurs ownership down with that? Is the front office?
You know what? I'm going to be
that?
honest with everybody, dude. Another hot take coming in hot here. The Spurs under this ownership group, right? Since Mr. Holt, Peter Holt, not really involved, with the team as much, kind of out of the public eye. The kids have taken over, wives taken over. Under this Holt leadership group, what have they done for this team lately? Or what have they done for you Spurs fans lately? I think what you need a shakeup is you need a shakeup in the ownership group. You need somebody that's going to come in here, shake things up, and do things different. Because what's going on right now, Spurs fans aren't happy with. They're not happy with the losing. So I think a shakeup needs to happen from the very top of the totem pole.
You would hope so, but the fact of the matter is that wouldn't R.C. Buford be the first one to go then? He and Pop?
Gone. Bye. Bye.
Got some breaking news coming into the Area 210 podcast. If you want to show my
let's
screen.
show it.
Shams Charania of the Athletic, well, not the Athletic, ESPN now. Shams Charania is reporting that we now know who Stephon Castle is going up against in the slam dunk competition. Two-time champion Mac McClung, who typically plays in the G League, who's allegedly with Orlando, is gonna defend his title against Stephon Castle. We knew that Matas Buzelis of the Bulls was going to be involved, but the fourth player is going to be Andre Jackson Jr. of the Milwaukee Bucks. Give me Stephon Castle. Give me some odds on that one, Joe. If he's going off at 4-1, I'm going to take those odds.
Oh, God.
I'm going to see if I can find that. Odds of winning slam dunk contest. Let's see. Let's see what's going on with that. Oh, the odds are out. Oh, they haven't been released yet. They haven't been released yet, but they're doing it. So I did see something kind of interesting when it comes to NBA Rookie of the Year odds. There's a new favorite according to Vegas right now, and it's kind of odd because it's Kel'el Ware is now the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
MGM has him as 2-1 odds. Stephon Castle is at plus 275, right behind him. DraftKings has him as plus 150, Castle at plus 330. So all these websites, all these sports books have Castle at number 2. Let's look at Kel'el Ware's stats here, shall we? That's Kel Mitchell. Let me see here. Kel'el Ware stats. Keep in mind, we have seen what are the stats right now of Stephon Castle, averaging about 11.5 points per game.
Yeah, I think it was almost around 11. It was like 10 point something.
Okay. I think he just passed 11 recently. He's played 40 games.
Half the season.
The last few games, we saw Ware go off for 25 against the Spurs and 20 against the Blazers and 22 against the Bucks. But prior to all that, he's averaging just 8 points a game. He's averaging 8 points per game. There are like 10 other rookies in the NBA who average more points than this guy. Does he shoot well from three? Yes, 38%. Does he get good free field goal percentage? Yes, he does. But I have a hard time believing that Kel'el Ware, who, by the way, has played only 29 games, 10 fewer than Castle, is going to be the favorite. What is going on where everyone is jumping on this guy's bandwagon when it comes to it all? He's only started 3 games. He's a backup center. He's 20 years old. Was the 15th pick in the draft in 2024.
As JHNSB has said, Ware outplayed Wemby when they played head-to-head.
Okay.
Wemby got us.
Yeah, and that's going to be history, ancient history, when it's all said and done.
I love saying that, Wemby got us.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I come out on Locked On Spurs, I make sure I say Wemby got us.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Mexican Junior saying Spurs could have had Ware that 8th pick instead. We punted for some spare 2031. No, we would have, could have gotten Dalton Connect as well.
They don't want him.
We got these picks though, man. We're selling hope.
It's false hope, dude. This ain't it.
Joe, what'd you do this past weekend, man?
I just hung out. I went to a bakery that's over here off of I-10 and De Zavala.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I think, a Korean bakery or something like that called 85 Degrees. It was pretty cool, man. Went in there and I tried some new stuff, got me a new drink. I went to the Goodwill that's right there off IH10 and De Zavala, and I found this right here that I'm pointing at, Mike.
Yeah.
It's a DVD VCR combo, right? And these things are hard to find now, right? They go for quite a bit of money when you see them on eBay. So I'm just walking through the store, just browsing, seeing what the hell is there. And I just look right up at the electronics counter that they have there, the shelf, and I see this damn thing with the original remote owner's manual and everything. And I'm like, I think I'm going to take this with me, dude, if it turns on,
Mm-hmm.
So I take it over there and start looking for a plug it in, and turned on. I was like,
That's pretty badass.
At least now I can watch my...
Where'd you get it again?
Goodwill, $20.
Nice.
I said, at least now I can watch my Dallas Cowboy highlight reel, right, when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The VHS tape.
Photo of Chica. We spent the weekend hanging out at church this weekend.
Yeah.
But we had some really good drinks, Joe.
Nice.
So I want to show you this. This was an old fashioned that we had. And then this one right here was a spiced old fashioned.
Oh, okay.
It was a pumpkin spice old fashioned. And dude, this was the best.
Damn, what is that?
It's like a charred pretzel.
Okay.
And it had the queso behind it. It was crunchy, super crunchy on the outside and super doughy and soft on the inside. It was badass, dude. It was badass. Can I tell you something about the chica over the weekend that I thought was kind of funny?
Yeah.
We went to HEB, and I have found that the darker the Mexican, the more likely they are to check her out at HEB.
Oh man.
The darker the Mexican, dude. She has a fan base, Joe.
Yeah.
Dark Mexicans who are probably wanted by ICE.
Jeez. You know what, man? Y'all better be careful, man, because there's ICE has been spotted all over the place here.
Yeah,
Dude.
I know.
I've been seeing them everywhere, man.
Okay, Sam Sluice asked the question. Y'all had drinks at church. I messed up at church, Joe. Here's the thing. She sat us on the second row.
Yeah.
It's a relatively big church. What's interesting about it was that like they wanted to do this breakfast for everybody.
Yeah.
So they got hundreds and hundreds of kolaches.
Really?
Which is great, right? They're
Yeah.
free. They give them to you as you walked in.
Yeah.
It was pouring rain, so the number of people who normally go to church that day was cut in half because no one wanted to go in the rain. Everyone was doing it virtually or whatever. So as we were walking out, they're like, "Hey, take some more kolaches on the way home." They gave everybody 4 each on the way out.
Damn.
Well, because they gave us kolaches on the way in and they gave everybody free coffee, I don't drink coffee. So I decided they have a little cafe inside the church. Go get a soda. Spent $1.50, got a soda. It's a fountain drink. And during church, I'm just sitting there sipping on my drink, right? It's a 20-ounce drink. I'm just sipping on it. Well, the pastor goes, "All right, everyone bow your heads for prayer." And it gets really quiet. And I take a sip out of my soda, and I was out of it, and all you heard was me slurping on ice. God. Dude, my girlfriend just looked at me mortified. And then she started laughing later on. She's like, it sounded like you did it inside the microphone. It was so funny.
That's almost like trying to throw out a silent fart on the wooden pew. And it gets real loud and it echoes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you did that with Chica? She'd be like so embarrassed, dude.
Yep.
She'd be like, can't take him anywhere.
Sometimes you can't, man. I went to, I refereed 2 high school basketball games on Thursday night. And, man, I hate having bad games, man. There was one game that went perfectly fine. The second game, it wasn't that it was poorly officiated. It was just bad basketball, and it's hard to officiate bad basketball. This week I got three varsity games this week, Joe. Season coming to an end in about 2 weeks, unless they pick me up for the playoffs.
Really?
Which is possible.
And that's the end of your season then?
Yeah, usually it ends around Valentine's Day. Oh, my God, that's coming up.
Yeah, man. I got to get my daughter her Valentine's Day stuff here soon. And me and her are going to go eat breakfast that day. Because usually I take her to go eat lunch.
Nice.
But she's going to be busy that day. I was thinking of taking the day off, but she's going to be busy. I tell her, well, you know what? Instead of me taking the day off, I'll just go ahead and take you to breakfast. We'll eat breakfast together. Because that's her thing. She's been my Valentine since she's 1. She's 21 years old. So I tell her, you've been my Valentine for 21 years. And she loves it, though. She loves it. She loves the flowers. She likes her dad to get her flowers and the chocolate-covered, strawberries. There's like 4 of them that I get her from HEB and all that. And then I take her out to eat. That's been our thing, Daddy-daughter date night. Or daddy-daughter date,
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do with your girls?
We might just get them candy or something like that. It's never been like a big thing. Because it gets so expensive around that time, and Valentine's needs to be moved closer to like March, man, because it's 6 weeks after Christmas, and it makes it very, very, very difficult. Hey, while we were gone, by the way, they did they announced the Oscar nominations.
Oh, did they?
Have you seen any of these?
Let's see. Let me take a look here. Best Picture. What do they have listed?
Nora the Brutalist, A Complete Unknown. I've seen one. I've
heard the Brutalist is good. I want to see that one.
Conclave, Dune Part 2.
I've seen that one. That one's a good movie.
Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Not Sohan. Nickel Boys,
Nope.
The Substance, and then Wicked. I mean, I've heard of Wicked.
I've never seen it. The only one I've seen is Dune 2, and I like that one.
Acting in a leading role, Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. He was really good in that movie. Ralph Fiennes for Conclave. Leading actress includes Demi Moore for The Substance. Edward Norton also, and Kieran Culkin. Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. Kieran Culkin, who I think is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
They're up for supporting actors. Supporting actresses include Ariana Grande, the singer, for Wicked. Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. She did a really good job in that movie also.
Yeah.
Zoe Saldana is also. So it looks like that movie about Bob Dylan's really, really big deal.
Timothy, what's his name?
Chalamet.
Chalamet.
He was the host of Saturday Night Live a couple days ago. And he did this whole thing about being a babyface.
Yeah.
And Kenan Thompson comes in and says, "Can't be doing a babyface song if it's not about me." He goes, "I look the same way since Kenan and Kel."
Gosh.
Very cool.
You know what we got to do? Because I know Drew Show is always complaining about the text. He's like, I can't read the text. And the funny thing is, like, I can read the text fine when I'm seeing it here live, you know, in real time. But when it goes over and it gets beamed out over the live stream, it looks even worse than what it does now. Like right now, when I'm seeing it live, as it's being beamed in here, it's perfectly fine. But when it goes out, so what means that we need to go ahead and get a new capture card that has a really higher resolution. That way it'll look just fine when it gets beamed out. Yeah.
Now, John does mention something that I do with my daughter Gabby back in the day. He says you go to Walgreens the day after Valentine's Day to get the candy for cheap. So there you go. My girlfriend has said that she does not want flowers for Valentine's Day. She wants to do something nice, go get dinner someplace. She goes, "Don't buy me flowers." She goes, "Buy me flowers some other time when it's regular price, not when it's 4x, not when it's 4 times more than what it normally is."
I think this year too. I'm gonna buy flowers for my daughter. I'm also gonna send flowers over to my mom.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Joe, it's been a good show, man. We have a lot.
Yeah.
We had a lot going in today. It was a really good show. Thank you for everyone. Hit the like button on the way out, and thank you for the super chats as well, man. We really appreciate it. That's a good question. Mexican Junior asking, has Kieran Culkin surpassed Macaulay Culkin as the best Culkin? Kieran was awesome in Succession. Succession was amazing. He was amazing in that. Kieran Culkin was also in the movie Waco, the miniseries about 5 or 6 years ago. That was really good. That Waco show, I want to watch it again. Taylor Kitsch is in that movie. He starred as David Koresh. Taylor Kitsch is that one guy who's exceptionally talented, but the fact of the matter is that I don't think anybody knows who he is. He's in a new Netflix, if you want to show my screen.
Sure.
He's in a new Netflix miniseries called American Primeval.
Okay.
And it's one of the top shows right now. It's on.
Think about it, Western. It's like a
Netflix.
Western kind of thing. It's a series.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of 1883,
Yeah,
which was the
yeah.
beginning of the Duttons in Yellowstone.
Kind of brutal, dude.
This is a brutal movie. It's 6 episodes. It's basically about a woman who's a fugitive who is trying to go west and is trying to hire a guide to get her to where she's going. And the brutality that it was back in the day of making your way through the West when you had outlaws and when you had, the Mormon church doing their thing and you had Native American tribes, and trying to go from point A to point B was not easy.
Yeah, they take the train for granted, dude. The train was the savior.
Yeah.
Going from point A to point B, from the East Coast to the West Coast. It really connected. It was like the lifeblood of America.
Tony and I was saying we forgot about the Barack Obama and Jennifer Aniston rumors. I heard about that, but I mean, until somebody says something that is substantive. But I did hear that there's a rumor going on involving Jennifer Lopez. By the way,
oh God,
Jennifer Lopez potentially dating Kevin Costner.
Why?
Do you believe that they've been spotted together?
Don't do it, Kevin. Stay strong, my brother.
Remember, they said after she got divorced for the 6th time that she has 6 rings totaling $17 million.
Jeez, man.
I mean, come on, dude. Kevin Costner, just for a little bit of fun.
Don't do it, Kevin, man. Cut her loose. You know, one thing that we got to say before we close the show is we got to go ahead and let everybody know what we're doing this Saturday.
This Saturday karaoke party over at the Hidden Tavern on West Avenue.
Yes.
So we had to reschedule it, so we're gonna get that going at the Hidden Tavern. It's gonna
7?
be a good time. 7 o'clock we'll get there, but the karaoke don't get going until 8.
Okay, 7 o'clock. Is Chica going to be there?
I'm gonna try to, dude. She's in the middle of a move right now,
Yeah.
so we're gonna try to.
Okay.
Everyone, have a fantastic day. It is Monday. Stay dry, and we'll be back tomorrow. Go Spurs, go!